They say the forest will grant you what you ask for, but it always takes more in return. One hiker thought he found a way out. What he really found was a curse he could never escape. Before we step into the shadows, let me welcome you properly. Welcome back, my friends, and if you're new here, settle in close. This is the place where we peel back the shadows, where every story whispers a warning. Go on, hit that subscribe button and join us by the fire, because tonight's tale is one you won't forget. Trust me, you'll want to hear how it ends. Now, lean closer. The fire is burning low, and the woods are waiting. Let's begin. They say the forest in Eastern Europe doesn't let you out once it swallows you whole. Not the way you came in, at least. The trees twist around themselves like veins. The paths vanish. And the silence? The silence presses against your chest until you can't tell if it's the forest breathing or you. He was a hiker, just a man who wanted to see something wild, untouched, and he got it. The trail markers disappeared hours ago, and every turn led him deeper into a maze of roots and shadows. His water was running low. His compass spun like it was drunk, and the sun, it bled out behind the tree line too fast. That's when he saw her, an old woman, sitting on a crooked stump as though she'd been waiting all along. She smiled with the kind of softness you'd want to trust, and when she spoke, her voice cracked like burning wood. "Poor boy, you've lost your way, but I can give you a gift. One wish." He should have run. He should have never accepted, because she never mentioned the curse.
Daniel. He wasn't reckless by nature, at least that's what he liked to tell himself. He had done plenty of solo trips before, always with his trusty backpack, compass, and careful planning. But something about this forest was different. The maps looked old, outdated, as though the land refused to be captured on paper. Still, Daniel pressed on, chasing that thrill of being surrounded by something raw and untouched. By the third day, he realized he wasn't where he was supposed to be. The air was damp, the soil soft, and the trees grew too close together, their bark etched with cracks that looked like symbols. He swore he saw one tree shift slightly when he wasn't looking, as though leaning closer. That should have been his first sign to turn back, but he was too deep in. And the deeper he went, the quieter everything became. No birds, no insects, just his own boots crunching on leaves. When the old woman appeared, it wasn't sudden. It was as though she had always been there, waiting. Her gray hair spilled in tangles over her shoulders, and her cloak, if you could call it that, was stitched from scraps of cloth, all in different shades of earth. She smiled at him, lips dry and cracked. "You've wandered long, haven't you?" she said. Her voice was rough yet carried warmth like the last embers of a fire. Daniel should have been cautious, but desperation made fools of men. He hadn't eaten in hours, his throat burned from thirst, and the forest felt endless. So, when she held out a small wooden cup, steam rising from the liquid inside, he took it. The drink was bitter. It made his tongue numb, then warm, and suddenly the exhaustion in his bones eased, like a heavy pack slipping from his shoulders. "There," the woman said softly. "Better, yes? I can give you more. A gift. One wish. Tell me what you need, and it shall be yours." Daniel frowned. "You mean, like, a genie?" The woman chuckled, and this sound echoed strangely between the trees. "No lamps here, boy, just old bargains. So, what is it you desire?" He didn't know why the words tumbled out the way they did. Maybe it was hunger, maybe it was the fog of exhaustion, but what he asked was simple, almost foolish. "I just want to find my way out." Her eyes flickered just for a second with something sharp. Satisfaction? Malice? He couldn't tell. "So be it," she whispered. "The forest will lead you out. Follow the path it gives." Daniel turned, and there it was, an opening between the trees where the ground looked freshly cleared, like a trail waiting for his boots. His heart leapt with relief. He almost forgot to thank her, but when he looked back, the woman was gone, not a trace left behind. He hesitated. The forest had played tricks on him before, but something about the path pulled at him. It looked right. He followed. The first stretch was easy. The trees bent away, letting the fading daylight slip through. The air was fresher, the silence broken by faint rustling in the distance. For the first time in hours, he thought he could hear a river. He laughed under his breath, a little giddy. Maybe this really was his way out. But the forest has a way of giving only what it wants to give. The trail widened, and ahead stood something he didn't expect. A small cabin nestled among the trees. Smoke curled from its chimney, thin and gray. Light flickered in the windows. He froze. This wasn't on any map. It didn't belong here. And yet he felt himself drawn forward. The door creaked open before he could even knock. "Come in," a voice said, not the woman's, deeper, steadier. Inside, shadows stretched long.
Daniel hesitated at the doorway. His instincts screamed at him to turn around, to run back into the trees. But the warmth spilling from inside tugged harder. He hadn't felt warmth in days. His hands trembled as he pushed the door wider. The cabin smelled of burning pine and something sweeter, like herbs simmering in water. The air was thick, almost too heavy to breathe. A fire snapped in the stone hearth, casting the room in shifting orange light. And there, in a chair by the fire, sat a man, or something shaped like one. He was tall, broad-shouldered, though his face stayed in shadow, hidden by the flicker of flame. Daniel could make out only the sharpness of his jaw, the way his eyes glimmered faintly when the fire caught them. Not warm eyes, watching eyes. "You've been given a wish," the man said. His voice carried no accent, but each word rolled heavy, like it was being weighed. "Most who meet her do not live long enough to make one. Consider yourself fortunate." Daniel's mouth went dry. She said the forest would lead me out. I just want to leave." The man's lips curled into something between a smile and a sneer. "The forest will lead you, yes, but do you know where? Wishes have conditions." Daniel frowned. She didn't say anything about conditions. "Of course not," he chuckled, leaning forward. The fire revealed more of his face, lined, stern, but his skin was as pale as bone. His eyes glowed faintly amber, like coals that never cooled. "You will." The fire dimmed, the air turned cold, and Daniel's breath fogged in front of him. He stumbled back toward the door, but it slammed shut on its own. His heart hammered as he turned, the man now impossibly close. "You asked to be let out, so the forest will guide you, but it will feed you piece by piece. A memory here, a fear there. The more you walk, the more you lose, until what leaves these woods may not even be Daniel anymore." Daniel's stomach dropped. "No, I didn't ask for that. I just wanted to go home." The man's face twisted into a grin, teeth too sharp to be human. "Then walk. The path waits. But know this. When you leave, you will not return the same. The curse has already taken root." The cabin groaned, the walls bending inward as though breathing. Daniel threw himself at the door, and this time it gave way, spilling him out into the cold night. He gasped, stumbling onto the trail. Behind him, the cabin was gone. Just trees, silent and unmoving. The path stretched ahead, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Too perfect. Too straight. His legs moved before his mind could catch up. One step, then another. The forest hummed around him, a low vibration in his bones. He thought of his parents, his friends back home, but when he tried to picture their faces, they blurred, details slipping away like sand through fingers. Panic surged. He shook his head violently, trying to cling to the images, but the more he walked, the harder it became. He realized then, this was the cost. His memories were unraveling. He stopped. The path stretched forward, endless, inviting. Behind him, only darkness. His chest heaved. If he turned back, would he find the woman again? Or worse, nothing at all? The forest whispered around him, branches creaking like voices just out of earshot. And then he heard it, faint, distant, someone calling his name. Not a stranger's voice, his mother's. But she had been dead for years.
Daniel's lungs burned as the sound echoed again. Daniel. The voice drifted soft through the trees, pulling at the rawest part of him. It was impossible. His mother's voice had been gone for years. He remembered standing at her hospital bed, holding her cold hand long after her chest stopped rising. He remembered the funeral, the dirt against the coffin. That was real. That was final. And yet, here it was. His knees nearly buckled as he turned toward the sound. The forest gaped open, the shadows curling like fingers, beckoning him off the faintly glowing path. Daniel, come home. His breath caught. The word home twisted something inside him because that was what he wanted most, to leave this place, to step through his own front door, to sleep in his own bed, not this endless nightmare. But the man's words clawed at the back of his mind. The more you walk, the more you lose. He squeezed his temples, pain lancing through his skull. Images flickered, his mother's face, soft and kind, then melting into nothing but blur. His best friend's laugh, distorted, slipping away. His father's hand on his shoulder, fading like smoke. Every step was stealing them from him. And now, the forest was giving them back? No, not giving. Dangling them like bait. Stop it, he hissed to the trees, voice breaking, but the forest didn't stop. The voices grew clearer, closer, not just his mother anymore, a chorus, his father, his friend. Voices overlapping, weaving together. Daniel, this way, this way. He pressed his palms against his ears with the whispers burrowed inside anyway, vibrating through his bones. His throat tightened. He wanted to scream, but the sound stuck. The trail ahead glowed brighter now, almost pulsing, as if alive. It tugged at him silence while the voices pulled from the dark. He stood caught in the middle, trembling, sweat chilling his skin. Every instinct screamed danger, yet danger was on both sides. He thought of the man in the cabin, his words like claws, and to what leaves these woods may not even be Daniel anymore. Daniel staggered a step forward on the path. The whispers rose in protest, voices wailing, desperate, calling his name sharper now as if afraid to lose him. His heart hammered against his ribs. Were they trying to save him or drag him deeper? A branch snapped somewhere off the trail. His head jerked. The shadows shifted, and for a split second, he swore he saw a figure, tall, thin, with a twisted grin watching him from between the trees. The whispers grew frantic, louder, clashing together until they sounded almost inhuman. "Daniel, come back! Daniel, this way! Daniel!" "Shut up!" he screamed, his voice tearing from his throat. His echo bounced through the forest, but the voices didn't falter. He stumbled, dropping to his knees on the glowing pad. His fingers clawed into the dirt, trying to anchor himself. The soil pulsed faintly beneath his hands, warm like a heartbeat. The forest's heartbeat. His chest heaved as he whispered to himself over and over, "This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real." But another thought warmed through. What if it is? What if this is the only way out? His mother's voice drifted one last time, softer now, like a lullaby. "Danny, don't leave me." Tears blurred his vision. His mother hadn't called him Danny since he was a child. He wanted to believe it was her. God, he wanted to. But as he lifted his head, he caught it. The slip. The voice faltered just for a heartbeat, breaking into a low, guttural rasp before smoothing again. Not his mother. Never his mother. His stomach dropped cold. He staggered to his feet, backing onto the glowing trail, his breath ragged. The voices fell silent all at once. The forest hushed so completely it rang in his ears. Only his heartbeat remained. The path pulsed brighter, guiding him forward. He swallowed hard, every step heavy, but he kept moving. Because now he knew whatever waited off that path wanted him worse than the curse itself. Behind him, the silence cracked. Something followed.
Silence broke with a snap, sharp, wet, and deliberate. Daniel froze, his pulse thundering in his ears. The forest no longer whispered, it stalked. Something was behind him. He forced himself forward, boots pounding the glowing path, but the sound followed. First one step, then another. Heavy, patient, almost playful, as though whatever was in the dark wanted him to hear it. The trees leaned inward, their branches arching above like ribs, sealing him inside. The air thickened, every breath scraping his lungs. Daniel's legs ached, but he ran harder, chasing the faint promise of escape at the end of the trail. The sound quickened, footsteps multiplied. Not one pursuer, many. "Daniel!" the chorus crooned again, but it was warped now. Guttural, stretched thin until his own name sounded alien. He stumbled but kept running, eyes darting ahead for a break in the trees, a clearing, anything. A shadow streaked across the trail in front of him. He skidded to a halt, chest heaving. It wasn't human. Long limbs bent at wrong angles, a body that seemed to stretch higher the longer he looked. Its face was nothing but a pale blur, features swimming like water. When it tilted its head, a grotesque crack split the silence. Daniel's scream tore from his throat as he spun and ran the other way, only to find the path behind him had closed. The glowing trail writhed, twisting into new shapes, leading him deeper instead of out. "No, no, 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 no," he shouted, his voice ragged. "You said you'd take me out!" The forest didn't answer. It only laughed, low, rustling in the sway of the branches. He bolted forward again, legs burning, lungs tearing. His memories sputtered and fractured with each step. His father's voice faded first, then his best friend's face. Then the image of his own home blurred until he couldn't picture the front door anymore. He clutched his head, sobbing as he ran, afraid that by the time he left these woods, he'd be nothing but an empty shell. Something clawed across his back, shredding his jacket. He screamed, stumbling forward, too terrified to look. The thing's hiss slithered against his ear. "Leave it behind. Leave yourself behind." "No," Daniel roared, forcing his legs to move faster. The trail tilted downhill now, slick with roots and mud. He slid, crashed, nearly broke his ankle, but didn't dare stop. Behind him, branches shattered as something huge gave chase.
the forest groaning as if it were alive, angry, hungry. The glow beneath his feet brightened, flaring blinding white. The path was burning now, each footprint igniting for a heartbeat before fading. His head swam, nausea coiling in his gut. He thought he saw people ahead, figures standing just off the trail, faces obscured by shadow. Dozens of them. Some reached out hands, some whispered, some screamed. "Help me!" he sobbed, reaching towards them, but his hand passed through their forms like mist. Each one was hollow-eyed, mouths open in silent wails, trapped. He gagged and staggered back, but there was no time. The footsteps behind thundered closer. Something's breath crawled down his neck, hot and rancid. He ran blind, tears and sweat stinging his eyes. The forest stretched longer with each step, trees repeating like a nightmare loop. He screamed at the top of his lungs, voices spreading, "Let me out!" And then, light. Faint at first, then blinding. He burst through the trees, tumbling into a clearing. The ground was soft grass glowing with moonlight. For the first time in hours, days, he saw the sky. He collapsed to the ground, sobbing, clutching at the earth as if it could anchor him back into reality. Behind him, the forest seethed. Shadows writhed at the tree line, but they did not cross. Whatever chased him lingered just out of reach, hissing. The glowing path ended here, vanishing into nothing. He fell onto his back, staring up at the stars, his chest heaving, vision spinning. His body felt too heavy, his mind too fractured. His eyes fluttered shut. Darkness. He awoke with a gasp. His sheets tangled around him, his skin slick with sweat. His bedroom, his ceiling, the familiar glow of his alarm clock, 3:07. For a long moment he lay there, chest heaving, trying to convince himself that it had been a dream, just a dream. But the dirt under his necknail said otherwise. The shredded jacket tossed on his floor said otherwise. And when he turned his head toward the corner of his room, just for a heartbeat, he swore he saw her, the old woman, smiling, waiting.
Daniel didn't sleep the rest of that night. Every creak of the house, every brush of wind against the window felt like the forest breathing on his neck. He kept the lamp on, hands gripping the sheets, whispering to himself over and over that he was safe, that he was home. But he couldn't remember the street he lived on, couldn't picture the face of the neighbor across the hall. When morning came, the sunlight didn't comfort him. It only revealed something worse. Faint, muddy footprints trailing from his bedroom window to the foot of his bed. His heart stuttered as he followed the trail with his eyes. They stopped right where he had woken up. He told himself they were his own. They had to be. But deep down, Daniel knew some wishes don't end when you wake up. Some follow you home. And that is where Daniel's wish left him. So, what do you think? Did Daniel really escape, or did the curse follow him home? Maybe tonight, when you wake up at 3:07, you'll find out for yourself. If this story chilled you, give it a like, share it with someone brave enough to listen, and subscribe so you won't miss the next night by the fire. Until then, keep your wishes close and your eyes open. The forest is never far.